Hi everyone, welcome to Luis Cisneros YouTube channel, and today's polymer clay tutorial is how to make a monster phone holder. Part 5, last part. So finally we made it. This is the last part. So I'm so excited because this video is gonna be a little bit longer, but it's because we don't have so much left, but there's a lot of detail. So we're gonna start by creating the bottom part of our monster, and I'm gonna use white and a little bit of the blue color that we use for the skin just to fill it up the parts that we didn't have. So it is the under the tail and under the body, so we just fill it up. I create a large cone and then I start flattening it and then fill it up the gap that we have. I use my needle tool just to create a little bit of lines between the pillows that we're gonna create, and we're gonna leave the marks just more space between them, as it will increase when we go under. Then we're gonna create the borders around that gap just to give it a more texture. So I created like kind of like a snake, where the head and the tail is gonna be thinner and the body is gonna be a little bit thicker. Just make sure that you're measuring through the entire tail and under the body. Then we start from the tip of the tail and we go all the way around. Do not press so hard on the tail since you don't want to affect this border. Then we do exactly the same on the other side. Just press really delicate, and then with the stylus we're gonna texturize. We're gonna create the horns and we're gonna sculpt with foil again. And then we're gonna create the eyes. So I use 2 pieces of foil to create half of a sphere. And then I'm gonna use white clay just to cover. To know the size, just follow the proportional chart, but also make sure that the half sphere of foil perfectly matches the hole that you created for the eye. It cannot be bigger, it has to be a little bit smaller, so then when you add the clay, it just perfectly matches. After making sure that it's really even, what are you gonna do? You're gonna start taking out the part where the pupil is going to be. So use your stylus just to take out pieces of clay until you get a really nice circle. Then when you have a smooth surface, you can bake. We're gonna create 2 dark brown spheres that they're gonna be identical to create the pupil. So to measure, just put it against your eye where the pupil is going to be, and to know how much clay you're gonna need. After you measure, then you make 2 identical spheres and then you integrate it. Don't forget to leave a little bit of a border, and also using your needle tool just to make it even. Then you can bake. Now we're gonna create the iris, and for this we need 3 different tones of the same color. So we use green and blue to create these ones. Middle tone, we created a circle and we covered the entire black or dark brown spot except for the edge, and that's the reason we need the edge, so we can hold the iris and it helps to look more realistic. So this is how it is gonna look at the end. So we're gonna start again. We put it on the first layer with the middle tone, and then what we're gonna do it is we're gonna cut in the center just another circle to leave the pupil. So we're gonna expose the color, the dark brown that we had before, or even the black one, whatever you use. Then to add dimension, we're gonna create another ring with the darkest color, the darkest tone that is gonna be the darker green. And then after we blend it, we create this ring and we put it in the middle of the previous color that we use. To blend it in, we use the stylus just really carefully without affecting so much the shape, but also not make it even since we are trying to imitate the iris. As you can see in the outside part, I just blended the dark color, and in the inside I do both, so in that way they are the same, and at the outside they look totally different. Then we're gonna use the bright tone of green, and then we create another ring. We put it in the middle, we measure it knowing that is that much that we're gonna need, and remember we need two sets, so always have the same amount of clay that you use for the two of them. Then we start blending it in and trying to not make it even since we're trying to imitate the iris. So some of the extents are larger, some of them they are shorter, and we try to blend the 3 colors. So as you can see in the inside, it is more vertical, the deep, and I try to blend it in and make it more smoother. And the outside is more horizontal. It has like that heel feeling. Then to create more texture, we use our needle tool. These allowed us to create more detail and to help blending those colors even more. So this tool allowed us, it's kind of like drawing the iris, allowed us to blend better the colors and give it a more texture. After you finish texturing the 2 eyes, then you can bake them. So we're gonna start covering our horns. As you see, I created just a triangle and I start measuring to see how much clay I'm gonna need, and carefully I place it and then I reshape and then I place it again until I can cover the entire horn. And I use the same color as I use for the teeth. Then I start adding pieces of white clay around, try to make the shapes of snakes, like crawling all the way to the horn. And when I go to the tip, obviously they're gonna be smaller, and when I go to the base, they're gonna be bigger. So I'm just trying to crawl them all around. Then I use a stylus just to integrate them and to blend them in. Then I noticed that one horn looks bigger than the other one, so I use a knife just to take the extra clay. I have it closer to the size. I start putting more snakes like and trying to fill it up the spaces between them. I use a stylus just to texturize, integrate. After the two horns are identical or pretty similar in size and you finish texturizing, then you can bake. Then I use the leftover baby blue clay that I have just to fill up the gaps for the eyes, so I can position them where I want them to be and I can stick them into the holes. Then I fill up the gaps with the same color that I use for the tongue, and I start filling up those parts of the back that I didn't fill them. Then with the same color, we're gonna create the inside of the eyelid. So we create another snake that I will go all the way around of the eye. And remember, it's gonna be one set because we have two eyes. And it's gonna look something like this. To create even more detail, we're going to create the little veins that are actually the eye shows. So before putting the inside eyelid, we're going to create these veins. So our eyes are baked, so you have to be really patient to be able to stick it into the baked clay. Then we can add the inside lid. Just be really careful, especially when you need to blend that and to join that part. I use the needle tool to cut the extra clay and then the brush to help me to smooth that surface. Try to not contaminate the white of your eye. We're gonna use dark blue to create our eyelids and the parts where the horn joins the skin. Then we're gonna create the kind of snakes-like to put the eyelids and to put the part where the horns joins the skin. So I measure against our part. Should be really careful to not contaminate the colors, especially with the dark blue. And then you create a set for the horns and a set for the eyes. Then after that, you use the stylus just to texturize. So use your finger just to put it and make it equal, and then you can texturize with your stylus. Then I grab a bigger snake and I put it around the eyelid, and remember it's a set of these ones, and I go all the way around to cover the inside eyelid, the pink that we put on, and then I start pressing down, making sure that I really attach it to, and also trying to make a shape of a dome, so in that way it looks like the eyelid. And this texture is going to be different than the ones in the horns, because they're different but at the same color. So I use my fingers. I actually left the texture of my fingerprints because I like that idea. I think sometimes it can work as a texture. Try to make it as smooth and even with your fingers. And then after you cover the entire pink, leaving just expose the top of it, with the needle tool you create those marks. With the same dark blue, I created actually another 2 shades, and I just add more black so I can create these molds that my monster is gonna have on the sides of the legs, and then on the back and on the head. And I use different sizes, and you can actually do different shapes too if you like, but I just like to do it randomly. I like uneven and not really symmetric. I like that in terms of where I put the spots. I like to use odd numbers, so I use 3 on the side, 9 on the top, 5 on the back, and I do it like that. It's just because it looks more attractive. and I create a path for the feet. So I use a little bit of like the same as the dogs they have. So that's the idea of creating this. Then you can bake the entire piece. Then to add a better finish, you can put some glaze in the eyes and also inside the mouth. If you like really shiny eyes, I recommend different layers of glaze on the eyes. Just I recommend let it dry 24 hours at least between layers. Finally, we're done. We have our monster cell phone holder. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed and you liked it. Please share your monsters. I would love to see them. And don't forget to subscribe to support this channel and to comment or like, and see you next time.